Hello and welcome to our show today. We are going to teach you how to make luscious pad thai. In the wintertime, people complain that all their garden is growing is radishes. Well, we've got a whole new spin on what you can do with those watermelon radishes, your regular radishes, daikon radishes, turnips, and all those wonderful root vegetables that are growing at this time of year. And we are going to start off by teaching you how to use those vegetables. Today, we've got daikon radish. We have a purple top turnips. You may grow salad turnips instead, and the salad turnips are the ones that are white all the way around. And then we also have carrots. We get beautiful watermelon radishes from KMK Farms over at the Vineyard Farmers Market. And when you cut that radish open, it's pink and white inside, absolutely gorgeous. Also at this time of year, we've had a lot of freezing weather, so our greens aren't growing quite as abundantly, but if you did have greens like kale and things like that, those are an excellent thing that we often add to our noodles. So let's start off by teaching you how to make this recipe the simplest way possible. And this is our winter version of pad thai. We're going to start off with our purple top turnips. So what we do to start with our purple top turnips, I noticed, you probably noticed that I top and I tail them. It makes it easier for you to peel because you've got a flat surface on both ends. Now, if you don't have a peeler, which clearly we don't right this instant, you can go around with a knife. Some people ask if it's necessary. On a turnip, I think that it kind of is because the skin on a turnip is fairly thick. So I would definitely encourage you, and it's about appearance, right? So when we eat a noodle, rice noodles look beautifully white, and egg noodles look beautifully yellow, and we want our noodles to look appealing to the eye. So we usually have these really handy dandy peelers from Cresco that we use, and they make very short work of this. But in the meantime, we do use the grater blade, and usually on your grater blade you'll notice that it'll say medium on one side and it'll say fine on the other side. So if you like your pasta to look like angel hair pasta, use it on the fine side. And if you like it to be thicker, then use it on the medium size. And so if you don't know if you want turnips in your noodles, very simple way of finding it. Just peel it, take a bite of it. Now if you like the turnip like this, are you going to like it as a noodle? Well, yes, right? If you hate it like this, not going to taste any better as a noodle, okay? And so, in terms of how much space they're going to take in your food processor basket, about that much, okay? And so look how beautiful the noodles are, aren't they? Like, you know, that's a beautiful noodle. Some people say, well, I have a mandolin. You can use anything you want. I just find that using a food processor gives us very quick noodles. My hands don't get tired of doing it. Usually at the cafe, of course, we're working in volume. And you do get some big chunks like this. I fish them back out. So I do. I go through my noodles very quickly, and I'm feeling for anything that didn't get grated properly, and I remove them. And the rest of it has a very nice uniform look and is very, very pretty. Next one I do is the daikon radish, and then we'll show you how to get some of the bite, some of the sting out of the daikon radish. So we've just peeled the daikon radish. And I mix these two in the bowl together because A, they look exactly the same, right? So there's no color difference. And if you were using salad turnips, there would be no color difference. Watermelon radish does have a color difference. It's pink and white, so that's a nice color difference. And you remove, again, any of the big pieces that are coming in there. Now we're going to toss this with salt. And some people say, well, I'm on a very low salt diet. The salt doesn't stay in your noodle. We have a purpose for using the salt. Purpose of using the salt is we actually want the radish to release its water. Because you'll notice that right now it tasted firm when I gave it to you. But if you have radish sit around for a while, what happens to it? Starts turning brown, or it starts getting really watery. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. So what we do is we accelerate that process. So you accelerate that process with the salt. So we've put the salt on it and we're going to start massaging it. And then I'll show you that we squeeze all of that water or that sharp taste out of our noodles. Because we do, we want like flavor in our noodles, but we don't want them to be really watery because, you know, that's why we drain pasta. We drain pasta so that our pasta noodles will be dry and the water will go down. And so when I say massage it, I do scoop it into the palm of my hand, and I massage it like this. So you're not just stirring. That's not what we're trying to do. We are actually massaging it so that the salt will start to coat all of it. Okay, so now, here it is. And it didn't look like there was a whole lot of water, but we actually end up using 3 bowls in this process. So, in this bowl, we squeeze. Isn't that incredible? How much water comes out of it? So don't forget this step. If you forget this step, your recipe is not going to taste the same. Now in the summertime, when you're making pasta noodles, you're going to use zucchini. I do the exact same thing. With your zucchini, with your yellow crookneck squash. First time I had raw pasta at a restaurant, the noodles felt cold in my mouth. So you notice that we had probably 1 1/3 basket of noodles, and now they look like this. They just look drier, they look kind of warmer, and then naturally, before I squeezed anything, just massaging it with salt, released that much water from the radishes, which is not bad. But by squeezing it, you've released 16 ounces. Now, how do you think that's going to taste in your recipe? Do you think it's going to alter the taste at all? Definitely, right? So step not to forget is take your water. Take your radish water out of your radishes. Okay, so we've got that one done. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do carrots. And we're going to do carrots separately because they don't need to have their water released. So it's a very simple thing. And the same thing we do with the carrots is we do top and tail them. And I used 6 carrots for this recipe. And the carrots aren't huge. They're just, you know, regular small carrots. So first thing you do is you remove all the big chunks. Now we're going to go ahead and add the noodles. And I feel it as I do it, so I'm removing any big pieces. And then because I am a very frugal Indian, I don't want to waste all of that. So we put the S-blade back in, especially on carrots. And you put all those little pieces that you weren't able to use back into your food processor. Not the tops and the bottoms, but the actual long pieces that we were hoping would make us noodles. Okay, and now we're going to blend it, and it looks very pretty. And today we are teaching the most basic of our pad thai sauces. Some people say that if a recipe calls for more than 4 or 5 ingredients, then it's too complicated. So a good chef actually is able to use very few ingredients. So in this recipe so far, we've only used 3 vegetables. At the cafe, we do always strive to use 5 different vegetables in every single dish that we make for you. So in this dish, we would have definitely added watermelon radish, and we would have added either salad turnips as well, or we would have added greens to it. We would have done something else. But at home, I am trying to teach you how not to become intimidated that you have this long grocery list. So if you only had turnips and carrots, you could have made this recipe. If you only had daikon radish, you could have made this recipe. I do find that for the eye, it looks very pretty when you've got at least 2 different colors on the plate, right? So I would definitely incorporate carrots into it.